Thanks for stopping by, guys, and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic. Now today we're going to be looking at some modded creations I've been working on. In the last video I did, I asked if you guys wanted mods or no mods, and most people said they wanted to see me do some modded creations. Right now I've got two mods active. One is the Wings mod, which a lot of people have been using lately, and the other one is X's Logic mod, I think it's called. Basically it adds some like WASD converters. I can actually look at my inventory. WASD converters, some memory bits, and a few other odds and ends that help out in general. So that's what we're playing with today, just to let you guys know. And I've been working on quite a few planes lately. I've gotten 3 of them so far, and these are kind of the first one, the second one, the third one. Actually, that one's the 4th one. The 3rd one I don't have here because I really didn't do much with it. I toyed around with it and never really did anything with it. This is the one that was actually in the to mod or not to mod video. 1 is your thrusters, 2 is your takeoff flaps. Once you get in the air, you can turn those back off. 3 and 4 are your rudder. You have your ailerons on A and D, your elevator on W and S. This is an electric engine driven W and S, so it holds its position. It's really good for just a normal flying vehicle, but when it comes to like fighters and attack planes, it's not very useful because it can get stuck in a situation where you can't pull up in time or you can't change your elevator fast enough. This is the first plane I made. It works well. It does what I needed it to do, and it allowed me to get an idea of what I wanted to do with planes. Come on, there we go. I'm trying to get this back to my little takeoff area. And one thing I really noticed with this is it's really easy to shoot these down. The cardboard wings on these normal plane styles are really easy to shoot down. I also wanted to go from the electric engine driven W&S to a controller driven W&S with the W&S converters that I have in the second mod I'm using. And just a few other odds and ends just to improve them, but this is mostly my experiment to get my head wrapped around planes in the Wings mod in general, I should say. So let me come to this one here. This is my first attempt at attack vehicle. Let me get up in the seat. The controls, if I can remember, 1 and 2 are flaps. So those are, you can adjust them for takeoff and flight and however you need them to. 3 and 4 are your rudders, 5 is your jets, 6 is your guns. Let's go ahead and take off. Here we go, we're in the air. And this does use the W and S converter controller based flight. Let me turn, oh nope, didn't mean to hit my rudder. I meant to turn down my flaps because I'm lifting a bit further on the front than I wanted to. The one problem I had with this was speed is decent. I like the speed, but the weight of the craft, as soon as I pitch up, I lose all of my inertia and I will stall out rather quickly. That's one of the issues I had with this craft. Another one was, I like the gun placement. It looks really cool, but it's really hard to hit a target. And in some cases, also really hard to pull off of target. I almost crashed on the ground. When I was playing with this one, I really noticed it's hard to hit. It's hard to do ground strikes with. The guns aren't the worst position, but they can be a bit annoying and a bit problematic sometimes. And the one thing I really did not like with this is its survivability. Because it uses a standard plane design, the wings are relatively easy to destroy. So even though over here it's 2 wings, I shoot that and I lose a big chunk of the end of my wing. And I think if I shoot this one, I lose my entire wing. So a stray spud can easily disable this whole craft, which I really didn't want. That was one of my big concerns, because I do want to use these in actual fights, either ground to air or air to air combat. And that's where this came in. This is more inspired by a jet, because I want to make the wings a bit bulkier, a bit more splayed out. Let me go ahead and get in here. 1 is my thruster, 2 is my flaps down, 3 is flaps up, 4 and 5 are my rudder, 6 is fire, 7 is gears. This does have retractable gears. Let's go ahead and take this off. Now this has a lot more thrust, so it is a lot faster. Let's retract the gears so we're a bit easier to fly. Let me adjust my flaps so I have a good, there we go, a good bit of lift to front. And this thing is really responsive. I know some people are saying that my controls are inverted because I use W for up and S for down, but it's really easy to change with the wiring. And it's just how I'm used to flying things. Now you could have this a bit more responsive, but I'm afraid you'd stall it in some way or end up breaking something. And this responsiveness is more than enough for me while turning. So let's actually come back around and let's go ahead and airstrike some of the planes we have on the ground. Someone suggested that I actually put a sight on the front of this, and it does work. The only problem is, let's go ahead and get my guns up. Got a little too close to the ground there, almost struck the ground, but I didn't. I'm safe still. The only problem with this is, when I go into first person, the game sometimes changes where the player can actually see from. So right now, I'm below the sight. Now I'm above the sight, which makes it really hard to actually use it. It does work, and you can do strikes with it, but it's really hard to see what you're shooting at, as well as with that glitch, it's a little hard to even use the sight to get an accurate picture. Now instead of trying to do another ground strike, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my gear, and I'm going to go ahead and land this, and we're going to take a look at how reliable it is and how much of a beating it can take before it does inevitably fail. I have had this one in a combat scenario playing with a few people, and one of the big things that I did to try and make this a lot better is redundancy first off. So if I actually get back in the seat, my ailerons, I have 4 of them, and each one is independent, so you have to destroy at least 3 of them before I think you have to destroy all 4 of them before I really lose aileron control. Elevators, there's 2 on the front and 2 on the rear. While this does also increase how sharp I can turn, it does bring a bit of redundancy. You can lose a few of these before you really have a problem. Rudders aren't really an issue. I've actually had these taken off and I was still able to fly. It does make it a little hard to fly, but it's not impossible. And the wings on this are made of the small wing. So instead of the large one like this, it is made of these. So instead of the large one, it's made of a bunch of these. So what that means, instead of having to shoot this and it just destroys that whole wing, you have to destroy a lot more. And there's also some reinforcing ribs that are in here to try and help keep the wing together even if it's taken a few shots, because these don't connect front to back. I put some ribs in there to help connect the front of the wing to the back of the wing a little bit better. So even if all of these are shot off, it still is connected through that piece all the way around the front, and so is that. So yeah, that's the survivability of this. And when I say I've had this in combat and it's rather reliable, here's the one I actually had in combat. This is the one that was shot the crap out of. I'm missing ailerons, elevators. The only thing I think that's intact is my flaps. My flaps are the only thing that looks like it hasn't taken damage. And I'm really proud to say this, but this thing can take off and fly. It is missing its front landing gear, but with the lift generated by the front flaps, it can still take off and fly. So let me go ahead and preset my flaps. It does need a lot of flap on the front to get that lift that I need to take off. And go ahead and start lifting. And just let us build up speed. There we go. Angle down. Correct my flaps now, because now we're going to raise really fast. And I've still got full control. I am in utter pieces, but I am still fully controllable, which was one of my major focuses for this craft, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let's see if I can do an attack run. I need to reposition because I'm going to hit the wall if I try and attack from this angle. So yeah, I'm really happy with the wings mod actually. There's a few things that are a bit weird, like propellers are really hard to make. Let's go ahead and go on an attack run. There we go. Turn off guns. I think we're going to go for one more just because I feel like it. Now this actually has 6 guns, so it actually has less than the other attack craft, even though it's not really a big issue. So yeah, if you do enjoy these modded creations, please let me know in the comments down below or with a like, and I will make more of them. I'm actually enjoying making these. I do want to make some bombers and maybe a cargo plane in the future. Right now, fighter jets are pretty easy to make. They're pretty simple. There we go. A little bit squirrely because we have a missing rudder. Turn on our guns and bring it down for the attack run. Oh, and we bounced off the ground. We're still good. We're still flying. Oh, I had my landing gears down still, so that probably helped us with the whole crash landing thing. Oh, and I'm not going to be able to recover this pretty easily. I can probably get it back in the air. Hopefully I don't hit this mountain. Ah, I hit the rock. I was hoping I wouldn't hit the mountain, but I hit the rock that's below me. Anyway, that is unfortunate, but I do think it is a good example of what these planes can take before they're knocked out of the air. So I'm going to end it here. If you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like. Any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. Enjoy the channel, enjoy what I'm doing, please subscribe. It helps a lot, and right now, shares help out the channel the most. So please share this channel with a friend. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking around. Until next time, peace.